Hi guys, welcome to today's video. Hope you're all doing well. My name is Danny and Happy New Year everyone. I wish you all a great 2021. Let's leave 2020 behind and never think about it again. And I wish you all greater things to this new year. And so to kick things off, as it is my first video of 2021 and after the blur that was December, I thought that I wanted to just ask you on my community tab what you wanted to see next. And so you responded, and most of you said that you wanted to see my album review of Gfriend's latest album, World Purchase Night, which is already up by now, link in the description or up here. And so after that, your second choice was the Mamamoo Awards Thoughts. And it has been almost a month. Tomorrow will be a month since the show aired and I'm so freaking late, but I guess new year, same me. I'm always late when it comes to those topics overall, but I still wanted to share my thoughts on this award show with you because I watched the performances countless times, did not watch the entire show because it's like 5 to 6 hours long and honestly, nope. I don't have that time to spend on just watching a show, but I did watch the performances and I had a blast and I watched it like 3 or 4 times, some of the performances way more than that. And so I wrote down my thoughts. I have like 3 or 4 pages of just my thoughts overall on every single one of the performances, and so I really wanted to still share them with you. I hope you will enjoy this video despite it being super late, and more videos will be coming very soon. So for those that don't know, the Mamamoo Awards are the Mnet Asian Music Awards, and actually when I was preparing this video I noticed that when you are saying Mamamoo Awards you're saying twice the word awards. Mind blown. And during this award show we had like 2 new releases, twice Cry For Me and IZ*ONE Panorama that we already checked out here on this channel. But it was like really exciting to watch all the different performances and then all of a sudden be like, oh my god, they released new songs during the show, and I found it to be a fantastic idea, and just to promote the songs overall was just fantastic. Overall, I get really excited every single year at the very end during the award season because I know that some of my favorite groups and soloists will perform at those award shows and just do like a huge performance, because it's not the same as having music shows. It's like up a notch, and they really create this concert ambiance on stage, and we even have collaborations between different artists, and I freaking love that atmosphere and that sort of live show feel to it that is much bigger. Like the budget for the performances is much higher than for music shows. Then another thing, and that is like a sentiment that I have overall when it comes to K-pop performances, being in music shows as well as award shows, is the singing. So as a singer myself and a musician overall, I love to see live singing, and that is something that was really dear to me with second generation when I first started listening to K-pop, to see the idols do choreos that were really difficult, not as difficult as nowadays, as with the fourth generation we have like an increase with amazingly difficult choreos. But it was so empowering to see them perform those songs and sing live. And even if they struggle a little bit, or if it wasn't perfect, or if their voice cracked, it was just something so touching to see your favorite artist on stage giving it all and trying their best and just having a little bit of imperfection. It was just so freaking cool, at the very least for me. And nowadays, as the performances become more and more difficult, the reliance on being pre-recorded live vocals or even just lip syncing becomes more and more important, which I do understand is really difficult, and I do not expect the idols to be able to perform those really complicated choreos and at the same time perform perfectly vocally. That is something nowadays, as we have more and more reliance on the pre-recorded track vocals and everything, that takes me away a little bit from enjoying the performance as much as I could have. And so there's different types of sort of live vocals, and I think the video that Angelina, that most of you know, she is like a huge part of the K-pop community here on YouTube. She mentioned that, and I just freaking love to see her own take on that. Link will be in the description if you want to see her video, if anyone watches this one. There's basically the first one being you are singing, have like a hand mic most of the time, and you have the backing track with the harmonies to help you at certain points, mainly the chorus. Then you have other versions where actually the idols have already recorded a live performance of that song in particular, and they are singing alongside their live recorded version, so that whenever they are tired, they can rely more on the pre-recorded version, and when they are feeling like good, especially for the main vocalist, they can just at some point overpower the vocals. For example, with YooA, I-DLE, whenever they sing, they do have the pre-recorded live version behind, and you can listen to their vocals speaking through, and especially Soyeon, when she raps, she really overpowers the backing track a whole lot. Then we have different variations of how much you rely on that backing track being a pre-recorded live version or just the normal recorded version of the song, and then you have straight up lip syncing whenever the choreo or the condition of the idol is not really appropriate, or the choreo is really difficult. The thing is also, most of the time with those award shows, what they do is that they do amp it up a whole lot, the backing track. So sometimes the idols are really singing live, but the backing track is so loud that you can't really see the difference between the vocals, or sometimes you might notice like the idol's vocals peeking through, but is not as much like clean cut and noticeable. The one example for that was Sola, as she was singing the song Speechless from the movie Aladdin. I only said the name of that movie in French, so now that I have to say it in English, it sounds really weird. But when she was performing that song, the overpowered version that was during the show was so loud that we couldn't clearly hear her voice, and she was singing live. And I find that to be such a pity, because I think that she's really able to sing live and to just kill it, but because the organization of the award show really wants it to be perfect, they just emptied up a whole lot. And there's another thing that I just discovered recently, was the fact that nowadays the use of microphones that have already auto-tune in them is more and more frequent. Sometimes even for like shows like The Voice or other shows that are about the singing, they use that as well. Or even in King the Masked Singer, they do that as well. And so I find it to be such a pity to do, because like having cracks in your voice or imperfections is such a natural thing. And the thing that really pisses me off is not so much that they are lip syncing. I don't really care about that, honestly. If they are lip syncing and they're creating an amazing performance, I really enjoy it nonetheless. But the thing is, because you create this new standard of perfection of having to just be in tune every single time and just be perfect when you're singing every single time, for the audience that is a new standard. And so whenever you are singing live and your voice cracks, or you just don't hit that note as perfectly as in the studio version or the correct version, people will criticize you for not being as good as a singer as you were compared to those versions that were corrected. And so I find it to be such a shame that you are comparing a version of someone singing a song to the perfectly corrected, modified in the studio version of the song. It's like, you will never win against this perfected version. So I just find it to be such a shame that even now for new K-pop fans, when they look at that, they're like, oh my god, so this is the new like standard. And so when they look at second gen performances, they might be like, whoa, they sound really bad or really terrible. So for the Mamamoo Awards 2020, I did notice that a lot of groups were mostly having a louder backing track supporting the performance, and some of the vocals were able to pick through and just be like really singing, and some others were like straight up lip syncing, which I do understand. Let's just say that uh, there was a little bit of everything, and it's not because they were lip syncing that they are not as good as some of the groups that were singing live. So now that I mentioned, I think pretty much every single thing, let's move on to the performances, which I was so freaking excited to check out. Forgot the word. So Twice, I was really excited to just see how they would perform it, because I Can Stop Me, one of the songs that they perform, was definitely one of my favorite songs of 2020, the one that I listened to the most, and so I was really, really excited. They actually started out their performance with an intro, and they were all wearing white outfits. There were some shots that were filmed from above. The formations look really, really neat. They did the intro and then they switched it up to More and More. And I must say, although at first I did enjoy the song, but it wasn't definitely one of my favorite songs from Twice, I did still enjoy the overall performance. I think the choreo is really, really good, and I just like love the vibe of it. When it came into the dance break that JYP spoiled at the time before the release of the song, I felt like it lost a little bit of its momentum, as it was just them in the middle of the stage that was super huge. I find it that perhaps if they had shown the dance break a little bit more up close or with backup dancers, perhaps it would have gained in momentum during the dance break. But still, nonetheless, it was a really enjoyable performance, and I just freaking love Twice when they are performing. And so then after More and More, they performed I Can Stop Me, and they had backup dancers. And I just freaking love that song and the choreo. I just love the entire vibe of it. Mina's and Nayeon's outfits were definitely my favorite. I know nothing about fashion whatsoever, but I just found them to be so freaking pretty, all of them. And their outfits are like, honestly, I really want to meet their stylist and be like, love your outfits. I don't know how you do it. Your sense of taste, beautiful. So then they jump on to this new song, and actually they end up I Can Stop Me, and Nayeon goes into that really, really somber door at the very end of the stage. She opens it, and then they start performing Cry For Me. That song, it surprised me so freaking much, and I just freaking love it. It was in my list of my favorite songs of 2020. I just freaking loved that song and the entire performance. Their outfits looked so freaking good, and I just overall I was so surprised. And when I was watching it, I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. And all the members shine so freaking much. I do think that all the members were lip syncing, or at the very least singing at the same time, but their voices weren't able to pick through the backing track that was really, really loud. But nonetheless, I just freaking love the entire performance. Big ones here, so I had a blast. And I love the end when Chaeyeon actually just falls behind like this and just says "Die for me," and I was like, oh my god, love it. I just fangirl all throughout it. Then moving on to another performance that just blew me away, and that is the performance by Jessi of Nunu Na Na. I never know exactly how to say the name of this song, but this song was definitely Song of the Year for multiple reasons. It was just amazing. Everyone listened to this song, had a blast to it, and definitely this is another song that I actually forgot to add to my list of 2020. But it was just amazing when she started the song a cappella. Her voice filled up the stage. She had so many backing dancers, backup dancers, there you go, and love the outfits. She was wearing this soft pink outfit. She looked stunning with the hand mic, and all the backup dancers were wearing cleary masks with the pink gloves and the black outfits. It just filled the stage. Her charisma, it was just really, really good. And what I found to be so freaking cool was how playful she was when doing the chorus, because she was like singing every single thing, can clearly hear her voice, and perhaps it was auto-tuned or modified post-production, but I don't think so, or at the very least I don't give a shit if it was, because it just sounded so freaking amazing. And when it came into the chorus, she was just like lip syncing to that part, so you can clearly hear the distinctions between like the backing track and her vocals, and I just loved it. And then it leads up to the collaboration, and the first collaboration of the show between Jessi and Hwasa, and I was like, this is such a perfect collaboration. And so we had the two of them doing separate parts, and Jessi actually changed outfits to go to a more like hip hop style outfits, as she was rapping mostly to this song. In Nunu Nana, she was mostly singing and showing her powerful vocals. She did rap as well, but for this second collaboration, her main role was like rapper. Hwasa added a little bit more softness, and I just really loved Hwasa's outfit, like all black with the clear details. I just loved it. She sounded really good. I don't know exactly if her voice was not as loud as the backing track, and that was why we didn't hear her as clearly as Jessi. But I just freaking love the collaboration of the two. I didn't know the song before, Gang, but I just loved seeing them two together. It just made so much sense. And then we continue with Hwasa and the performance of Maria. The intro for the song, I was like, oh my god, did she change outfits? I did not understand at all what was going on, but she was wearing like a super like free like how you say it, like a dress, but it was like really flowy. There you go. That was the word I was looking for. And she was dancing on top of water. It was really dramatic and a little bit sensual. It just perfect Hwasa performance, and I just freaking love. I love when groups or soloists dance on top of water. Just the effect that it adds is so freaking stunning. And then she looks at the camera and she's so freaking badass. Then there's the outfit change, which was like so quick that it didn't have time to be like, oh my god, how did she do that? Then it was like editing, but nonetheless, then she performed Maria, and I just freaking love it. The live vocals was so dramatic, and so overall it was a really nice performance. She had like a little dance break that had a military style, and she just overall was so freaking badass. And the performance overall, like the choreo, I think is one of the best that she has done, and so it has a lot of different formations and transitions, and I think overall it just looked so freaking good. Then we move on to the queens themselves, Mamamoo. The entrance was so freaking epic. Like, honestly, as soon as I started watching the performance and you see them just coming on top of those things, I don't know exactly what it was, but coming to the stage with all of the backup dancers, and it was in the entire style and concept as I-DLE, and I just found it to be so freaking good. I do think that they were singing live, but because the vocals are much like toned down compared to some of the songs, like especially when Sola does the high notes, you can clearly hear the difference that she is singing live. But the other vocals are much more like calm down and like airy and everything, so the difference is not as clear as if they are singing live or if it's the backing track. Nonetheless, the performance was so freaking good, and I know a lot of people were like questioning the performance and whatnot, but I did enjoy it quite a lot, and perhaps it is because I am a Moo, and honestly I just love Mamamoo and what they do, but I still thought that it was really great, and I really loved the dance breaks with the Ween and Moonbeard. I like when they were doing twos by twos. It just overall it was a nice fun performance, and then having the performance of Dinga was so fun as well. They had a dance break as well. It was just fun to watch their performing. Then talking about queens, we had to talk about the king himself, Taemin. He did perform Criminal, Idea, and Heaven. It actually was Heaven that was in the middle, but just freaking loved it. Like having this sort of historical Korean set, and then having like the throne of the king and just his outfit. He was wearing like a modernized type of handbook. It just looked so freaking good, like the palace set. his performance, oh my god. I don't know if he was trying to sing at some points or just lip syncing. I don't know. At some point, I was just like, I don't care, because the way he was dancing, it just looked amazing. It was just so freaking intense. Then they moved on to Heaven, and they had like all of the backup dancers dancing around him, and like the feathers effect added to the performance, and it just looked so freaking amazing. And actually, after watching that performance, I went back and listened to Heaven once more, because that performance alone made me fall in love with the song again. And then they moved on to I-DLE, and I was like, oh my god, because Criminal has a very like powerful choreo, but I-DLE just takes it to a whole nother level. And I must say, I did watch one of his interviews in which he says like, and I love details like this one, but actually, if you notice, at the end of Criminal, it ends the song in this pose, and actually starts the song of I-DLE in this pose again, and so it's like the continuation. And you might be like, well, whatever, it doesn't really matter, but I just freaking love those types of details of being like, there's a connection between the two, and it was just so freaking well thought out. And then of course we have an epic ending of him just levitating in the air and looking stunning, like with the drapes behind him. I don't know if it's like not appropriate to call it drapes, I don't know how you call it, but like the blue dragon behind him looked so freaking amazing. Then we have a lot of different performances from artists that I'm not really familiar with. The first one being from Enhypen. So it is the group that won Island that I did not watch. But they did a beautiful performance, and there was this one member figure skating before the performance, and I was like, holy shit. It just looked so freaking good. Really, really impressive, and it was a really nice introduction to the group to see them perform in that stage. Then we had Cravity and Monsta X. So Cravity did perform one of their songs that they released this year, and then they moved on to two covers of Monsta X's songs, and then we had Monsta X perform Beast Mode as well as Love Killer. And I did not make videos on any of the performances that I just mentioned. That is because although I did listen to them, I just didn't have the time. But that is not to say that it wasn't good or that I didn't like it. Not at all. I did enjoy quite a lot, because Love Killer, I freaking love the song, and their outfits, they looked so freaking good. All the members, especially for this performance, I did watch some of their other performances, they were wearing like very classy outfits, and it was like this burgundy, like my thing, a little bit darker than this color, and they looked so freaking good. Kyohyun, every single time that I hear him singing, I'm like, oh my god. It is so freaking good. They all looked stunning, and the choreo and everything, chef's kiss. I loved it. And then we move on to Oh My Girl, and actually I was a tiny bit disappointed, because Oh My Girl's song Non-Stop was a huge release of 2020 in my opinion. And so knowing that they only had that little very cute stage and just had to perform this one song, I was like, well, I was expecting more. And I know that perhaps it is because they didn't have the time, or they wanted to do something else, or they were preparing for some other performance. I don't know. I was expecting them to have a little bit more time and perform some other songs, and I actually share the same background with YooA I-DLE. And the same thing, they did perform Dum Dundee, which I did enjoy, and it's really refreshing song for the summer. But I think like Oh My God was a very, very good song and a very strong and powerful release of 2020 that they did not perform. And I was like expecting to have something bigger, especially from this group that I freaking love and know they can do so much better. And the same goes for Oh My Girl. When they participated in Queendom, like honestly, we've seen amazing performances from them, and so giving them just that background and singing that song like that, I felt like it was like a little bit of a performance that they could have done at the music show. And it's not towards the girls that I'm saying this, because they performed it really well. I did enjoy to see it, but I was expecting more from them, and that the show, the Mamamoo Awards, would give them more to work with for this performance. And then they actually collaborated, YooA I-DLE and Oh My Girl, and they did the song by Miss A, Bad Girl, Good Girl. forgot it. I really like the collaboration between the two, but I felt like they could have done even more. I really like the additions of the rap part. So the original song doesn't have as much rap as they added. So Beanie and Soyeon, they did sing way more. Mimi and Soyeon did add their own rap verses, and it just sounded really good. Then we have Winter, I-DLE, YooA, and IZ*ONE performing various songs from BoA. So this year, or actually 2020, was a huge year for BoA as she was celebrating her 10th anniversary in the industry. I think might be wrong. Oh my god, so much pressure. So the thing is, I do really enjoy BoA, but I haven't been able to just follow up to every single thing. I still haven't listened to her new album, which I am so sad about, but I will correct that after filming this video. So they were sort of celebrating her during the show by having her younger generation of K-pop doing songs of hers. And so we started out with Winter from aespa performing the song Peace Be, and she did a dance break and it looked so freaking good. Then we move on to I-DLE with Listen to My Heart, and it was really cute. I didn't like their outfits, but then again I was like, Winter was so wow, and then I-DLE was like, my god, Mamamoo, give them more, like more oomph. But it sounded really good. YooA really blew me away. It was a really short performance, but the way she was singing, she looked beautiful with that white dress, and I am a big fan of hers. And then we have IZ*ONE performing Tree. And that one, I did find it cute and fun, and they had like the ski goggles, and it was just like 4 members. It was, I wrote it. It was really cute performance by Yena, Chaewon, Chaeyeon, and Eunbi. So then, talking about IZ*ONE, we move on to them performing their 4 songs, being La Vie en Rose, Violeta, Fiesta, and then ended up with Secret Story of the Swan. And actually for La Vie en Rose, Fiesta, and Violeta, they actually performed by 4s. And so they had the first sort of set for La Vie en Rose with all of the roses and them wearing the same outfits as for the release of that song. The same for Violeta, having the same sort of set for the performance and another for members, and then having Fiesta and the same thing. And then I found that the sets were really cool, and I really liked their outfits and how beautiful of them look. Like honestly, IZ*ONE and TWICE are definitely 2 of the groups that I just want to steal their outfits every single time. I just love the cuteness of it all, and I love the choreo. And the thing is, the effect that we can have from an IZ*ONE choreo is by the numbers that they have, and the fact that you have like such a complicated choreo by the formations, the transitions between one part to the other, and so having all of the members being separate and just being like by 4s, it just took a little bit aback from the powerful choreo that it is, but I still enjoyed it. Secret Story of the Swan, still one of my favorite songs almost of all time. I just really love that song, and having Eunbi just throw the glitter once more, they just looked very good. And then we move on to Panorama, which was at the time a huge surprise for everyone, as it was the next song that they released with OneRilla, Act 4 OneRilla, the newest album that they released later last year. Overall, I did really enjoy that. The performance of Panorama is so freaking good. I love their outfits, and once more, it's IZ*ONE. I am a big fan of theirs, and whenever I think about them disbanding, it just breaks my heart. So then, moving on from one epic performance to another, and we talk about the Boyz with Reveal and Checkmate. And it is such a hardcore like entrance, so epic. In the fact that for this year, as they didn't have an audience, the stage felt like it was like a huge screen, and so they could really play with the background. And I feel like the Boyz, Stray Kids, and Ateez were the ones really playing with that, and so it just added more to the oomph I don't know, to the momentum of the performance. It was really epic, and it was another arrangement of Reveal, which I feel like since I watched Road to Kingdom, I just listened to so many different arrangements of Reveal, but I never get tired of it. And so they were wearing the white and gold, and had that huge part that was so freaking emblematic, iconic from Road to Kingdom, where for the song Reveal, they just have like those two things. I don't know how you call it in the poof. It was really anticlimactic the way that I poof. But actually what they changed was that the way they utilized this huge stage, because the stage felt like it was really, really huge, was having them go from one part to the other, from one member to another, and they were like running on that treadmill and being filmed at the same time. And then all of a sudden they take like the Olympic flame, which seemed to be the Olympic flame, and they went onto this thing that goes woof. And they set it on fire, and it was like, oh my god. And it was really epic, grandiose. And actually afterwards, because this is like the first performance from a collaboration between the Boyz, Stray Kids and Ateez, they actually all represented different gods. And so for the Boyz, it was a Zeus sort of theme. That's why we have all the whites, and the golds are being like the air and everything. Just really enjoyed it, especially when you looked at the top of the performance, you had the different gods. Because then we move on to Ateez with the performance of Inception and Ensa. And the entrance once more was, wow, the live vocals. The live vocals. They're not playing around, especially the one that I always forget the name of. Oh my god, Jungho. The way he handled his high notes just blew me away. And actually it was the first time that I noticed that there was like a sticker in the bottom of the stage. Like, I think it's like to just alert every single artist, like, don't go beyond that line, otherwise we won't be able to film you. I just freaking love seeing Ateez perform every single time. The transition between Inception to Ensa was really smooth. Their facial expressions, they look so freaking good, and they actually represented Ateez, the god of the underworld. And it just took me so much time to say that. I took notes, really good notes. But just overall, just the amazing transition. Like, at some point, another member, I forgot the name of, I don't remember who it was, but they jumped like on top of something, and like they were like a bunch of backup dancers holding up to like something, and it felt like he was on top of like a huge I'll put images of that here. So then we move on to Stray Kids, and I just have found myself loving Stray Kids. Like, I was here for their debut. I loved it. I was like really into it, and some songs I'm like, holy shit, I love it. But I don't know why. I never really got into the group. But then since God's Menu and Backdoor, I just have been loving what they do. And so this one was with the song Victory Song, and they actually represented, I did write down, I-DLE, the god of war. It was like 300, the movie inspired. I loved the look of it. It was like a mixture of a lot of different influences, but I just love it. And they were singing live, I think so. At some points, like, you can clearly see that the backing track is saying something, and like the group's members are a little bit late or a little bit forward, and they just sing and they kill it. And I just freaking love Hyunjun with the blade. I was like, oh my god, amazing. I was not expecting it at all, but they just blew me away. And so afterwards, like, the three members that represent the gods, so we have Juyeon representing Zeus from the Boyz, then we have Hyunjun representing I-DLE from Stray Kids, and then we have San representing Ateez from Ateez. And they did a little dance break surrounding the crown, and I think it was like Mnet telling us like, there's Kingdom starting in 2020, so they will be there. But it was really nice, and I really like the continuation of having this famous crown that everyone wants to have. It's really pretty, but I don't get it. But honestly, we have great performances because of it. So Thank you, Crown. Then we have GOT7 performing Not by the Moon, as well as Last Piece. And Last Piece I didn't make a video on, which was really unfortunate. But I did really enjoy that song, and Not by the Moon, one of my favorite songs of 2020 that I did not add to my list, I think. I did. No, I didn't. I think I did. It was like 150 songs on that list, on that video, so perhaps I did, perhaps not, perhaps it will be on my part 2. But nevertheless, I really like their vocals, and I think for most part they were singing live, but perhaps the backing track was really loud. But I really like their vocals, I really like the songs and the performances. I really like how they implemented like the table sequence and the JB dance break. I love the outfits. Just overall, like the velvety red outfits, really love that. And I just really like GOT7's performance. And then the last performance of the show was like a 30-minute long performance. Perhaps not as much, but of course we have the Kings, BTS. And so this performance, I was like, holy shit. I was really excited for it. Like, honestly, I really love BTS. They kick things off with On, and they actually like rented a stadium just to perform that song, and honestly, totally worth it. Have that up top view of the dancers forming the army logo, just looked amazing. Like their vocals, the white outfits, Jimin solo, all the members like, and for this performance and for the rest of the songs as well, YooA was not in it, so they had to do otherwise. And I found it to be really cool the way they played with it. And then we have Dynamite, which I didn't make a video on. I actually filmed it, but then I did not upload it. But nevertheless, I did really enjoy that song and thought that it was a really uplifting song for 2020, knowing the circumstances that we were in. I really love the outfits in this disco feeling and just like very upbeat and them just having fun. And I think V is the one that kills it every single time for the performance. Just love the way he is feeling himself on stage, wearing those outfits and everything, just gives me life. I love it. And then my favorite concept-wise performance is Life Goes On. So like I said, for this performance, YooA was not present because it was right after his surgery to his shoulder, if I'm not mistaken. So for this performance, we have like a city all white and every single thing has stopped. And so you see them, every single member going from one side to the other as there's time to sing, and they are singing live, and that I freaking love. And so they are going through this city that has stopped, and he's once more referencing what happened in 2020 and still happening now. But they actually added sugar in like I don't know how you call it, like hologram, can you say like that? And I found it to be a nice touch, and it wasn't not so badly done. I was like expecting that it was going to be like the World Cup of LOL, League of Legends, when they added like the members of KDA. It was like, oof. But no, actually it was really good. And then as they continue to sing about how life goes on and that we have to keep holding on to things and keep on believing basically that everything will be alright, the city starts to move again and it goes back to color, and I just freaking love that. It was such a nice touch, such a nice way to close off the show. Of course we had BoA doing performances as well, but she just kills it every single time, and because I'm not as familiar with her as I am with some other artists, my commentary on her performances is much smaller, but I do really love what she does as well, and she's like legendary at this point. She made K-pop for some people, and she's continued to influence new idols every single day. So what can I say? She is one of the greatest. So yeah, after all of this, I did really enjoy that. There were some gripes with the show, being that I still don't understand why Blackpink, Itzy, Gfriend were not present. Definitely those three groups have really like shaped 2020 in K-pop, so I was not really understanding why they did not participate. So guys, that's overall my thoughts about the Mamamoo Awards 2020. I really want to know yours in the comments down below. Do you agree with the winners of the show? Which performance is your favorite from all of the performances that we talked about here. There are some other performances that you want me to check out. What do you want to see next here on my channel? I cannot wait to know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and even click that little bell icon so you are notified whenever I post new videos. In the meantime, have a great one, and I hope I'll see you in my next one. Bye!